All right. Hello, everyone. It's David Corwin. I'm one of the sales directors here at Insurance Agency Marketing Services. In a little while, we're going to be joined by Dave Pemper from Lazarus Coaching. I'm going to be going over Social Security claiming, and I tell you, that's a subject I talk with a lot of agents about, and I'm not exactly an expert on it, I will tell you, but if you can be an expert on it, you will set yourself apart from those agents that aren't, because a lot of clients out there are clamoring for that sort of knowledge. And if you can set yourself apart from others, you'll be way ahead of the game, though. So anyway, I'm going to get started here a little bit on the couple of intro slides here about IMS. If you've been on our webinars before, this will probably be repetitive to you, but if you haven't, then it's good way for you to learn about what we do here. So again, I'm David Corwin, one of the sales directors here at IMS. Point you to the top right there, 800-255-5055. That is the only number you need to call IMS. You always speak to a live person. We have a 3-ring guarantee on every call that's made. So that means they're always answering the phone call, and you never speak to a computer. You always speak to a live person, and that's what really makes us different from other IMOs in the industry, and we're very proud of that. Get that out of there. Sorry, everybody. Hopefully you can't see that, but it's not a big deal if you can. Anyway, so new producer builders, this is your first 6 months of production with us here at IMS. There used to be a couple of levels, I think 3 different levels, and now we have 5 of them, as you can see on the screen. Take advantage of that. That's a great way to kind of get rewarded for your production. 100, 250, 500, 750, and a million. A lot of agents that write some cases with us, and then again they get rewarded with it. It's very nice, 750 in cash, and some people actually take the if you actually do the marketing reimbursement and as opposed to the cash, that'll certainly be a lot more. That'll make a more of a difference for you as well. So with that. IAMS Business Builders, so we have that referred producer program. It's a great way to refer producers that you know in the business. You get $50 when they get contracted, and then $100 when they write their first case. And then I always like to say this too, is you get to get rewarded for their ongoing production, and those values right below there. Life target is 15 basis points, 20 basis points for indexed annuities. You have single premium life, of course, that's 7.75 basis points, and then you get 10 basis points for the MIGA business. We also do marketing reimbursement for you as well. For all the business you write here, you also get some marketing money for that, and use that for anything you'd like. And I always like to hear this too from Steve, when he does use a lot, and I listen to what he says, and it's really nice that if you have something that works for you in your particular area, don't be opposed to ask for that, and we will make sure that we can reimburse you for that as well. Sometimes agents just like to use what we have here, but if something's working for you, so some sort of a lead program or something that you like to use, that's unique to you, then we would more than happy to reimburse you for that as well. Back office support, that's what I do. We help you work smarter, not harder. Lots of great tools on our website. There's another slide that talks maybe more detail. Yeah, I should say gets in more detail about our website and things like that. But you can see all that on there. Forms to fingertips, submission to commission support, life and annuity quotes. That's what I do every day. Paperless contracting. That's through Assurance Bay. Gone are the days. I mean, I've been doing this 25 years now, working with agents for about 18 of those. And gone are the days where you fill out a bunch of paperwork. It's all done on the website now. It's all done with a mouse instead of a pen. We really like that. It's very advantageous for time. So then Firelight, going with the same subject of using a mouse instead of a pen, we're probably at a 30 to 50%, somewhere around there, last I heard, submission on Firelight as for electronic versions of applications being submitted, as opposed to using the old paper with a pen. So anyway, with that being said, the carriers that are available on there, you see listed there, and of course coming soon will be the ones on the right. A few others that have been added since this slide was created. I think Ocean View, and then I think American Life is on there as well. That's a newer carrier to us, with a 10-year contract with a 16% premium bonus, by the way, available in certain states. Again, you heard me right, 10-year contract with a 16% premium bonus on it. Could be 13, could be another 3% added to the end of it too, by the way. Just a little selfish plug there for you. I'll be calling you about that as well. But anyway, it's available in certain states. Creative Marketing Solutions, this is where we become an advertising agency for you, the producer, turnkey solutions, agency solutions, and digital solutions. It's kind of nerdy. I'm thinking about it, but I don't get involved in that. We have other people that do that. And if you want a website, if you want to do any sort of flyers, things like that, branding, they do a ton of that with a lot of agents, and it's just a great way to kind of help out. LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, all kinds of various things like that we can help you out with. And if you're not familiar with all that, feel free to and ask all the dumb questions you want, because they've heard them all. And I've asked plenty of them. So with that being said, the IAMS website, as I talked or alluded to before, that is all kinds of stuff on there. Sales, there's a library on there. So if annuities aren't your game, if you want to talk about life insurance, there's all kinds of various things on there: buy-sell agreements, key man policies, Section 162 bonus plans, estate planning tools, all kinds of various things in there. Again, that's Creative Sales Solutions Library, I believe that's what it's called. There's all kinds of sample documents for various sales, life insurance sales. There's annuity stuff on there too, but fact finders, all kinds of things on there. Probably should do a webinar on that, by the way, at some point. But there's also on our website a tool called Annuity Rate Watch, which allows you to run income rider quotes, look at rates on all the annuities. You can, if you have an 86-year-old client that has $400,000 and you want to look at a 3-year fixed annuity, in about 3 seconds, you'll find which one is the best rate there. Retirement Analyzer, that's one of the things I do here along with Marcus Solar. That's something I just did a webinar on that last week. If you're interested, I could certainly send you a copy of the webinar that we did with the guys over there. They do a great job. If you want something, I always like to say this too, is that, you know, in the independent world, you don't necessarily have the tools that agents with like Prudential or Mass Mutual or some other carriers may have at their fingertips. And this is something that's free to you as long as you get contracted with us and you are actively writing with us. It is a great way. It's as simple as you want it or as complex as you want it. I think just by the mere fact of having it and being able to market that and tell people that you can do some retirement planning with them, and look at some income gap analysis for them as well. I think the better off, and I think the more likely you will to get an appointment with somebody, as opposed to just saying that you sell annuities or life insurance. It just, like I said, separates yourself from others. IAMS Wealth Management. If you want to, again, to go with the same thing as far as separating yourself from other agents, if you want to look at being an IAR, if we're an RIA, that's always fun to say. We are an RIA, so resident investment advisor. That's what we are here, or IAMS Wealth. You would be an IAR under us. Enough acronyms. I'm kind of tripping over my words here, but I would just say, because I've had a 65 in the past, it just makes you different than others. It helps you become more marketable, and it just, like I said, it just makes you more money. There's more revenue and client retention. You see all those great tools there, or great things why you have the Series 65. Our trip. I want to make sure that Dave is going to be on here too. He'll be jumping on here, I'm sure, in a second. But anyways, with that being said, we do have the trip that we have coming up here at the end of, I think it's the end of production of June of 2022. So you have a good year to produce business, and it looks like it's a $4.5 million of premium that you would have to submit to get that. Next slide we're going to talk about would be the slide that talks about being on Facebook We are on Facebook. We are also on LinkedIn. And so like us on both of those. And also, I always like to say this too, is when we get done producing these videos or these webinars, we do publish them on YouTube, and that's where it goes. All of our webinars are there. We have a channel called IMS, and if you just go out there and you actually uh, um, subscribe to our channel, and then also click on the notifications, and also like the actual webinar that you see, what will happen is you will get in the notification. By the way, you'll get notified when you do. I'm sorry, when we do, and I'm struggling a little bit because I'm waiting for Dave as well to jump on, but you will see that you'll get a notification every time we publish a webinar. So it's just something to kind of, we do these, and I always like to say this, is that if it's 10 o'clock on Central Time on a weekday, we here at IAMS are teaching you something that maybe you may not have known before. And if you don't happen to catch the 10 o'clock and you have your phone with you and you have YouTube, as I said before, you don't have to have YouTube up, but you have the notifications on there. Every time we publish it, you'll get a notification on your phone. That way you can kind of watch it and stuff like that. So,
well, as you're getting my slides, let me just start talking about Social Security here, okay? So as David, and I apologize, we're just getting up to speed on getting the slides on in, but I want to thank everybody for being on with the workshop or webinar with us today. My name is Dave Pimper. I've been in the business for 40 years, since 1981, and the last 10 or so years certainly have made give a lot of information when it starts coming to Social Security advice, Social Security seminars, Social Security education. And I'll tell you right now, Social Security per se doesn't make money, but just the doors that it can open up certainly does. And Dave, are you still working on this?
yep, there you go.
Okay. All right. So we'll see if I can, and I don't, they're just
Just
not
a second.
showing on my
Just a
screen.
second. I got it. I didn't
Okay.
know. I didn't know. Yep.
So let me first say this is that in your practice today, um, I would think that some of the folks that you do work with are going to be the pre-retired or just retired. And when you do a Social Security seminar or you learn Social Security, you're talking to people right before they're retiring because they can't start Social Security before the age of 62. And most of them are going to take by the time that they're full retirement age. So what happens is you're talking to them at that. I always say it's people that are in transition. That is who you're talking to, and what happens is, and Dave, so
Yep.
do I have the?
You you should be able to see.
Okay, there we go. I think I can do it now.
Yeah, you have your slides up. I can
Yeah, I
just
got my slides up. I'm just trying to go in and just advance them here.
hold on.
So what happens is that you know I say on this slide why you, the advisor, should really understand Social Security. And I just read today, in fact, I had it in front of me. And it says from Kiplinger's under Personal Financial Advisor, and it says 3 signs your financial advisor needs to go. And it says a strong relationship with a financial advisor you trust matters more the closely you get to retirement. Then it says a good advisor should consider the big picture, which includes Social Security claiming strategies. Now, isn't that interesting? Should include Social Security strategies. So what happens is, if you don't know Social Security, and I had heard, and this is a roundabout statistic, but I think there's about 58% of all clients would consider leaving their current advisor if they did not know Social Security. That's a big number. This is from Sarah O'Brien from CNBC. Most retirees get little advisor help on Social Security. A majority of older Americans get no professional advice about a key part of retirement planning, Social Security, even if they work with a financial advisor, a recent study concluded. It's pretty strong stuff. And I'll tell you right now, there's three ways through myself and or through IAMS, the FMO, but who I coach for, don't work for, but I coach for them. I'm a producer just like you are, pounding the pavement, making things happen. What happens is that you can go in and through the seminars. Just talk to a guy that had pretty good success on an outside seminar. We're doing our Social Security seminar with him. This was just on retirement planning, but it cost him. He did a dinner workshop, and it cost him a little over $4,000. We do educational workshops with might have a pastry or a chocolate in bottled water, but it costs about $2,500. And with that, you get coached up on Social Security. Retirement Boss Radio, where we're getting well over 10 appointments every single month from that program. It's an hour program. Sometimes they're half an hour, but almost all of them are an hour program. And the cost on that, the return on investment has been very high. We're looking at marketplaces at 100,000 or more, and I coach you up on Social Security there. That type of marketing will run anywhere from probably 3,000 to 4,500 a month to have an hour show each weekend. And then, or you can just a la carte. You can just, hey, I don't need marketing with it. I just want to learn Social Security, and you pay me $800, and I coach you up on Social Security claiming. So there aren't many FMOs that give you three different ways that you can learn, be coached, be taught, or as they would say in the backwoods of Nebraska, I'm going to learn you up on Social Security. If you got any questions, type them on in. Be more than happy to answer those for you. Here's a test. And I want everybody to take this test just to kind of see how much they know about Social Security. Everything on this is word for word from Simply Wise, with the exception of how about the financial advisor agent. Now, this is a test of 5 questions, and I want you to take it with me, okay? So here we go for the very first question. To maximize your monthly Social Security checks, at what age must you claim benefits? To maximize your monthly Social Security checks, at what age must you claim benefits? Write your answer down. Got it? Okay, here it is. It's not 66 or 67. It's 70. You can delay up to 70. Get delayed retirement credits, and it's going to be a bigger benefit. That's the biggest benefit you can get is age 70, okay? Not full retirement age. That's where you get your full benefit, but not your biggest. What's the earliest age you can receive survivor benefits if you're not disabled? What's the earliest you can receive survivor's benefits if you're not disabled? Answer is, write down, 60. Not 62. It's age 60. Does your spouse need to receive benefits for you to qualify for spousal benefits? Does your spouse need to receive benefits for you to qualify for spousal benefits? Here we go. Yep, she does. Okay. Now, fourth, can divorced spouses receive a spousal benefit? Can divorced spouses receive a spousal benefit? Yes or no? Here we go. Yep. Now, there's 4 stipulations that have to be met. If you can just guess 2 of the stipulations concerning divorced spouse benefits, I'll give it to you. 2 of the 4. So here's what they are. You ready? First of all, the marriage had to at least last 10 years or longer. Married for at least 10 years or longer. Secondly, the person taking the benefit is unmarried. Thirdly, X needs to be at least 62, and the divorce had to be at least 2 years or longer. Those are the 4 stipulations. If you said yes and got 2 of the stipulations right, we're cooking. You got it right. And then lastly, are you eligible for survivor's benefits if you're divorced? Are you eligible for survivor's benefits if you're divorced? Yes or no? Here we go. Yep, you are. If those 4 stipulations are met, so can you remember those 4? You're currently unmarried, right? Yep. Your divorce lasted, was your marriage lasted 10 years or longer. Your ex is at least 62. And lastly, the divorce was at least 2 years or longer. Yeah. So how'd you do on that? How'd you do on that test? Well, I'll tell you right now, many people will only get 1 or 2, or if they guess they couldn't get the stipulations right. And when I took that test, I got them all right. The only tricky one I thought was I can see where a lot of people would say full retirement age is where you get your biggest benefit, but it's not. You can delay it up to the age of 70. So what happens is that if you didn't get probably 4 or 5 out of that right, you certainly have room to grow in your Social Security knowledge. And I just can't impress upon you enough of how it changes your practice, because there's tons of people that know about fixed index annuities. There's a ton of people that know about fixed annuities. There's a ton of people that know about stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. There's tons of people who know about real estate. But there aren't a ton of people that really understand Social Security. So you can be very unique, in your community and be kind of that go-to guy or go-to gal when it comes to Social Security claiming. Okay? If you got any questions, type them on in. I'll be more than happy to help you. This comes out of USA Today from Jana Heron back about a year and a half ago, July of 2019. And here's what it says. And I took this word for word from the excerpt. Doing this one thing with your Social Security could mean losing $100,000 in retirement. If that doesn't catches your attention. And then there's 3 bullet points. How much does claiming Social Security at the wrong time cost you? You know how many percentage of the people claim at the wrong time? 96%. In fact, look at bullet point number 3. Overall, only 4% of retirees took Social Security at the financially optimal age. What a shame. And many of those people just don't know better. They would if they knew better. Bullet point 2, retirees will lose an average, not a big, but an average of $111,000 in income per year. Why? That's over their household. Why? Because they took Social Security benefits at the wrong time. $111,000 income per household over their lifetime because they took it at the wrong time. Boy, what a shame. Just quickly going down kind of memory lane. Social Security started in 1935 by Franklin Delano Roosevelt. First check in 1940. You only take it at age 65 in the very beginning. Of course, now you can take as early as 62, as late as 70. Cost of livings came in 75. No taxation until 83. In 1982 was the last time the Social Security Trust Fund, that has $2.8 trillion in it right now, it went bankrupt. They went down to zero, and they started taxing to get more money in there. Last major legislation was the Bipartisan Budget Act of 2015. File and suspend was phased out in 6 months. And right now, restricted application is still around only if you're requesting the restricted application benefit if you were born before the age or before the date of January 2nd of 1954. 1954. All right. So let's go on to the next slide here. How important is Social Security? It's very. Social Security comprises almost 60% of people's income upon retirement, more than 401ks and more than brokerage plans. If you go, and I'm going through things pretty quickly here, but I will say this, and we're going to start getting into the individual benefit. But if you know those 5 things, you can be pretty darn good at giving educational information to your clients, which in turn opens up doors for you to go in and work with their money because you got to fact find some, got to see how much they have in assets. Okay, but there's three dates or times that are important for Social Security. There's full retirement age, so ages 66 through 67. That's your full when you get your full benefit. You can take as early as 62, but if you take it 62, you're going to reduce your benefit for life between 25 and 30%. It's a lot. How about if you wait longer than full retirement age? It's going to grow a guaranteed 8%. That's how you get, remember, you get your maximum benefit if you wait to 70. You know how many people wait to 70? 3% of all Americans. I'm going to. Absolutely. My wife took early. There's a reason for that financially, because it was better for us from a Social Security standpoint, but not the bigger benefit, not the benefit that I have. Okay. Can Social Security have a huge value? Yeah, if you claim at your right time. I emphasize your because it isn't the right time or it isn't a right time, but if you claim at your right time, and you know what? Everybody's situation is different when it comes to claim Social Security. The trust fund last year went up in value. Yeah. And this is a 218. It actually is 3 billion net increase. In 219, it's a 6 billion increase. Has about 2.8 trillion in the trust fund right now. But remember, this is a pay-as-you-go system. So that $1 trillion, just over $1 trillion of revenue, that pays for all the benefits. Plus, there's 3 to 6 billion left over, which isn't very much. But in 2020, because of the pandemic, we're fairly sure that it will go underwater, and we'll start taking from the trust fund. And then the Social Security administrators think that this fund will be dried up, will be gone within by 2035. So anywhere from 12 to 14 years out. But you know, even that went bankrupt, there would still be about 80% of the money, 79, 80% of the money would still continue to come in benefits because it's a pay-as-you-go system. The 6.2% that you pay and the 6.2% for FICA, or that's including Medicare, Medicaid, but the payroll taxes. Yeah, it's a pay-as-you-go system. Will they have to firm this up sometime with legislation? Yes, and they're going to. You know, there's two ways to do it. You can take the retirement age out, or full retirement age out, or you're up to 70. You can move all that 2-3 years forward to the future, and or you could tax. I'm not a big tax guy, but you'll probably get a little bit of both of those when it actually does come down the pike. It's a political hot potato. No president. No, they just you're messing with a retired's future here because they put into it their whole life. It is a pay-as-you-go system. They buy special issue government bonds, and then those bonds are basically sold, and government gets cashes those in, pays for other part of uh, of expenses through their programs and debt, and they issue IOUs. It doesn't concern me a bit because it's an IOU from the U.S. government. I mean, what backs the dollar bill in your pocket? The IOU from the U.S. government. There's not gold, silver. There's not copper, platinum. There's not bonds or corn futures. No, nothing hard asset backs that. So as long as cash is still around, I don't mind Social Security. Okay. All right. I had a funny question from a young person. It was a referral from they're in the 20s, but they said, we know there's not going to be Social Security. And then I said to him, well, you know what? They might pay Social Security in Bitcoin down the road. His eyes got real big. He said, gosh, I never thought about that. Do I think that'll happen? Not to our generation, but to a young generation? Yeah, it could. I mean, that might be virtual currency. You got Google Pay, Amazon Pay. There's a lot of virtual stuff going on right now. Okay? It's not a Ponzi scheme. They've never missed a payment. You need 40 quarters of coverage. Each quarter is $1,470. So if you make $1,470 in 2021, you just earned a quarter of coverage. You can earn up to three credits per quarter. I'm sorry about that. You can earn up to a quarter, one credit per quarter. You can earn four per year. My fault, four per year. Now, the more you make, the bigger those credits get. Okay, but the minimum is 1,470. If you make $5,880, that's your four quarters. So if you make $5,880 or more, you just made four quarters, 1/10. So you got to work out 10 years. Can't get it earlier than 10 years. And they take your 35 highest years or your best years, inflation adjusted. That's how they figure out your benefit. Okay, and there is a cost of living each and every year as long as there is one. Been around since 1975. The only years there hasn't been a cost of living increase is 2006, 2009, 2010, and 2016. 2009, 2010, and 2016. I love that long-haired dachshund. You see he's wearing a bone tie? It's kind of bad Nebraska joke. Yeah, if you're born from 43 to 54, your full retirement age is 66. I was born in 55 at 66 years and 2 months. If you're born in 56, it's 4 months. 57, 6 months. All the way to 59, 10 months in 1960 or later. Your full retirement age is 67. A newborn born today, full retirement age 67. Probably won't be in the future, but it is now. If you take early, it gets discounted. If you wait after full retirement age, each year it goes up 8% a year. 8% a year. It's a lot. You throw COLA. You know what COLA is this year? Any idea? 1.3%. Was 1.8% last year, 2.83 years ago, 2% 4 years ago, and it's averaged well over 3% since 1975 when cost of living adjustments started. If you got questions, bring them up. I will say something too. Am I going through faster now than I would if we were coaching? Of course. My coaching sessions last, give or take, around 45 minutes each. They are with myself, not one of my staff. And then you've got full access to me within reason during coaching, even after coaching. Okay? I mean, and this works through the FMO. So as long as you've got, an agreement and doing some business there, yeah, you got availability to myself. There is almost not a day that goes by that there isn't one of my clients, because I've coached hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients, that call me and ask me, hey, well, what about this? I got a unique situation, or how about this situation? So I think I may have said this, but if you know the individual benefit, the spousal benefit, the divorced benefit, the survivor benefit, and restricted application, you're going to be able to answer probably 80% of all the questions, maybe 85% of the questions that are thrown at you. Because normally they revolve around that. Okay? So, Dave's PIA, that stands for primary insurance amount, which is the amount at full retirement age. So say they're both are born in 1953, and so they're well over 66, their full retirement age. Dave takes his 2,400, Amy takes her 1,000. Amy gets her, let me go back. Dave gets his 2,400. Can't get any more than that. But Amy has the option, if she's married, she can go in and take that 1,000, or she can take half of Dave's benefit, whichever is higher. What's higher? Half of Dave's. Half of 24 is 12. $200 higher than 1,000. And how they show it to Amy is 1,000 of her benefit, which is she's earned that herself, and then she gets a spousal top up of $200. What happens if Amy takes her 1,000, but Dave doesn't take his 2,400 because he wants to wait till 70? She can only take 1,000. Until when? Dave starts taking a 70. Now she can get half of Dave's. Okay? And if she takes before full retirement age, she get half of Dave's, but it's going to be reduced. Also, spousal benefits do not participate in delayed retirement credits. It's only what the benefit is at full retirement age. Social Security is complicated. 2,700 rules. If you're my age, can you remember Ed Sullivan, that guy that spun those plates? He was incredible. He spun plates. He had bottles spinning. He was incredible. Well, there's a lot of spinning plates when it comes to Social Security to really understand it. We go through a lot with you when we coach you up. Okay. Again, if you have any questions, certainly go in and type them in, and we'll be happy to answer those for you. Dave, for some reason, I can't get this forward. I don't know why. There you go. Thank you. Divorce spouse benefits. That and survivor are the two biggest unused, not used, missed benefits there is. And remember, if you miss a benefit, you just don't know about it, or you don't take advantage of it, you're not going to get a letter from the Social Security Administration saying, "Hey, by the way, you're missing this big benefit." No, it just lets you miss it. So remember, your marriage had to last at least 10 years or longer. Currently unmarried, not your ex. They can be married, but you taking the benefit has to be unmarried. The ex-spouse was at least 62. Divorce was at least 2 years ago. If all those stars and moons and everything line up for you, yeah, you can take your spouse just as if you're still married to them in the eyes of Social Security Administration. Why is that important? It's important because married couples many times have more options available to them. Doesn't mean it's everybody, but they have many, many more options available to them than a single person. Pretty cool. And a lot of people do not take this. They just don't go in and take the benefit. They maybe don't really even know that it's available. Survivor benefit, my wife says, Amy says, and I use Amy and Dave. She didn't like that very much because I'm dying on this right here, which the guy normally dies first, doesn't he? Yep, he dies first. It's about 3 years early, and then women outlive men 2 to 3 years. So there's 5, 6 years there difference. My dad died at 82. Pretty good life for him. My mom's 97 and still living. Lives at home. Has a boyfriend 97. Oh my gosh, Dean. And Dean's taken her everywhere. They've dated now for 11 years. They're not married. He lives at a senior, kind of assisted, not even assisted living. Just kind of senior. He still drives. They got this great love affair. People live a long time. When does Social Security quit paying you? At 100? At 103? No. They pay you till you kick the bucket. That's the great thing. You cannot match this. You can't. Social Security is a great program, and it's a wonderful benefit for people. And to educate people, I get a kick out of it because I'm helping a ton of folks, and I'm making a ton of money giving them that advice. Looking at their portfolio and finding out if there's something there I can help them with. Because we don't make any commissions per se from Social Security, do we? No. But it's a very good lead-in and very worthwhile to give them great information. So Dave and Amy, married, both over full retirement age. Dave's benefit 2,000, Amy's is 1,200. Dave dies, which happens 75% of the time. The male dies. Now, Amy can keep her benefit, or she can drop her benefit and jump up to Dave's. She can't take them both. She can't get 2,000 and 1,200, but she can get either the 12 or the 2. What's she going to do? You bet. Dump the 12, take the 2. My mom's doing that right now for my dad. My dad was a car dealer, made pretty good money. And Dad, Mom's been on his benefit, for 15 years, 15 and a half years about, since Dad passed. Yeah. So if you don't take it, you have to request this benefit. If you don't request it, you don't get it. You don't ask, you don't receive. Sounds biblical, doesn't it? And survivors that way also. Excuse me. Divorce is that way also. You have to ask for it. Not spousal benefit. You don't have to, but you do on survivor and divorced. What's also pretty cool, if you have a divorced spouse, you can take that benefit and let let yours grow if it's going to grow bigger, or vice versa. So there's some really neat planning strategies that you can do with the survivor spouse. Now, coordinating spousal benefits. This is a tough. This is a lot of information on this slide, so I'm going to apologize ahead of time and let you know that this does get complicated. But but you know what? And I will say something else. If you're learning something today, I want you to go away with knowing a little bit more than what you knew when you came in. But remember, you can if you're doing a marketing program through IAMS of Social Security seminars. I got one going on next week. You know what? Right now, we started advertising. This is Tuesday. We started advertising yesterday or Sunday. Might have been Sunday was our first day. And so 10 days ahead of time. Today is Tuesday. So we've been advertising for 2.5, maybe 3 days or 2.5 days. And we've got right now like 25 or 26 people that have signed up. And that's through Facebook. I mean, on Social Security seminars. And I'll tell you, states are opening up. We're doing them down in Texas, up in Connecticut. We're doing them in Florida. We already have some that gone on in Kansas. Depending where you are, but we're doing it in the community room of a church. But $2,500 in you're going to learn Social Security, and because I won't coach you up on it, and we hope we can get you 25 people. Our goal is to get 10 appointments for you. That's what we want to do. You want to get 10 appointments. If you get 10 appointments or more, chances of writing business are very, very good. Just sit down with 10 people and you're talking to them about Social Security. And again, or it could be Retirement Boss Radio, an hour-long show, probably for a month's time, depending on how big the station is and where you're located in the population of the city. But the listenership, but you know what? It'll probably run $3,500 to $4,500 in most cities. Pretty reasonable for an hour of your own show. We coach you up there, or if you just don't want marketing, you just want to be coached up. Yeah, $200 a session, $800. You're going to know a ton more when you are done from the coaching standpoint than before. So let's talk about restricted application. In 2015, it started phasing it on out. But here's what happens: is if you're born before January the 2nd of 1954, so you got to be like 69 years and 5 months. Excuse me, 67 years and 5 months. If you're older than that, meaning you're born before January 2nd, 1954, then you can apply. You can get this strategy. If you're younger than that, like myself, I was born in April '55. I lost out on $21,000 here. Just one of those kind of unfortunate things. But people who are old enough, it's a big deal. I no kidding. I mean, this is about 2 weeks ago. She's actually helping her daughter down in Arizona right now. But she came in and she said, "I heard you knew a lot about Social Security." And I said, "Where did you hear that from?" She goes, "Well, the radio." She came in from the radio show, okay? And interesting enough, I actually did talk to her about a year and a half ago, though did not stay in contact. I thought she was going to work till she was 65. She ended up that she's only working till she's 64, but she came to a Social Security seminar. So from a marketing standpoint, she heard me on the radio, and then she went to Social Security workshop. But she comes in, and I went through everything, and we did restricted application, which I'll explain how it works. And I was able to save them or get them, um, uh, nearly $20,000 in their pocket. And we retroed a benefit of 6 months. They're never going to tell you can do that at Social Security, but retroed They got another 4,200 in a separate check or deposit. I mean, and she, it just was so fun. She looked at me and she said, because she brought her other statements. We had just talked about Social Security. She goes, well, she goes, I've decided. She goes, I'm going to be bold. I want you to handle my accounts. I, I'm not kidding you. It was just like that. I mean, I said, gosh, I wish I had this videotaped. I could, or had it on audio. But it was perfect. And the only reason she did that is because I really understood Social Security. But you can too. And the more people you talk to, the better you get with it. So let's just talk about how this restricted application actually works. Okay. Now, again, this gets complicated, so yeah, I try to break it down much slower when we're coaching together. So the person requesting it has to be full retirement age or older. Let's in this case just say they're both full retirement age, Dave and Amy. Dave's PIA, remember that stands for primary insurance amount? What does that mean? That's the amount that Dave gets at full retirement age, FRA. A lot of lot of symbols, a lot of letters to go on in and to explain Social Security. So what happens is that Dave's PIA is 2,400. Amy's PIA primary insurance amount is 1,000. Now, Dave, Amy has to start hers for this to work. She starts hers. She needs money coming in the family. She gets a grand. She's full retirement age, not discounted. Dave wants to wait to 70. He wants to continue to work. So remember, there can't be a spousal benefit if he doesn't start his, but he starts his in the eyes of Social Security. It's called restricting. He's restricting his application to a spousal benefit from this case from his wife Amy. But then he can let it continue to grow the 8%. Starts and stops it in the eyes of Social Security he started. What does that do? It allows him to get a benefit from the spouse. He can go to Amy, reach out to get half of that benefit. That's $500 coming in per month, as his continues to grow 8% guaranteed a year plus cost of living. What a deal! That $500 that he can get of Amy's, that half of hers, it's free money. Free money. 6,000 a year, 12,000 in 2 years, 18,000 in 3 years. You know what? I read a study once on Social Security. I think it was by Motley Fool, if I wasn't mistaken. But it said 0.7% of the people where a restricted application would help them financially from a claiming standpoint use it. 0.7. You know why that is? Because no one knows about it. Plus, it's fading away. And when it fades away, then it's getting less and less interest. Big deal. Excuse me. And we're just about done. We got about 5 minutes left, and then we'll open up. What we're going to do is we're going to open up the webinar, and you can mark yes if you'd like to talk to me, or no that you don't want to. But I'll tell you right now, that 15-20 minute talk, we're just going to talk about could Social Security help your practice? Is there some marketing that could help your practice right now? We had a good year last year. This was not a big down year. Certainly it was a bumpy ride, but we had a lot of people that we're talking to for appointments. If you go to a bank or a lawyer or a CPA and ask them, do you give Social Security advice? Almost everybody says no. I said, well, then who do you refer to for advice? They all say Social Security Administration. They can't give advice. They cannot give advice. They can only give you highest benefit that you're entitled to right now. They cannot scenario plan. Can you believe that? And I went out to the website, and the POMS, which I go up on from time to time, Program Operational Manual Systems, that's their handbook of Social Security rules. Look at number D. Provide enough information so that claimants, that's the people going in the Social Security office, can make informed choices, but do not give advice. You know who gives advice? Dave Pimper. You know who could give advice? The folks that are on this webinar today. We got a bunch of people. Yeah, I can coach up to 6 people at one time. and I'm coaching 6 right now. But on Thursday, I will drop one off, and then I'll have availability to coach. And then next week, I've got actually 2 that are dropping off after my coaching up. So I just don't want to coach any more than 6 because it kind of hampers my production. And I'm still in full production. And that's another thing too. When you're coaching from a producer, which I have for 40 years, since July the 9th of 1981 is when I got into the business of financial services, insurance for 3 years, and then investments after that, combined with, of course, fixed index annuities, was really my mainstay because it is the investment side. But it isn't just a teacher teaching you, but it's a producer teaching you and coaching you. And I think that makes a difference, especially when you're trying to increase your production. Okay? If you have any questions, type them in. So as we're finishing here with this webinar, I say consider all your income streams before you claim Social Security. And this is important enough. I don't like reading from slides, but I'm going to read from this slide. It says Social Security, remember this, it's not a standalone income stream. It's not. And I'll tell you right now, I use this a lot. I say this in my workshops, but I say Social Security claiming, it is the worst by far. It is the worst corporate water cooler talk in the world. Hey, Dave, I took Social Security at 62 and you should too. Hey, Dave, I took Social Security at 70 and you should too. That's like saying, hey, Dave, I love asparagus pie and you should too. Well, you know what? It's up to you. Your situation is different. The second bullet point, Social Security is the most flexible of all income streams, which it is. And we're going to go through a slide here next, talk about the different 5 income streams, claiming at your right time. Remember, not the right time or a right time, but your right time. That's how you get big value. And I love people like engineers, architects, math teachers, engineers, scientists. They'll do Excel break. My break even for me is 79 years, 2.5 months. Oh, that's great. Have you thought about your wife? A survivor benefit? Oh, no, I just only thought about my benefit. Well, don't you care about your wife or your spouse? Yeah, they can jump up to that survivor benefit. That's why it isn't like my wife was in the situation she could take earlier, take some reduction, but mine's going to grow. I'll probably die first. I'm the guy. We're branded, we're labeled. We die first. She'll get that big benefit. And even if she takes early and gets hers reduced, as long as she is over full retirement age, when I die and take the benefit, there's no deduction in the benefit at all, which is really nice. Here's the 5 pillars of income. You've got working wages, got pensions, income producing assets, where we uncover all the assets. And I work with a lot of rollovers on 401ks and IRAs and 403bs, 457 governments, thrift TSP, thrift savings plans. I mean, that's my forte. It's great money to work with. RMDs are at 72 now, so that's an income stream. Excuse me, that's an income stream. Yeah, you have to start taking that 3.65% out at the age of 72. It's how Social Security goes in and complements those other 4 income streams. At the bottom, I said there's a lot to consider for your best claiming decision, and there is a ton of stuff. There's a lot of things you have to look at, okay? And as I told you before, if you don't know Social Security, don't you want to learn? Would you like to get in front of people? Would you like to be thrown in the mix of giving advice on Social Security? Not many of the people in our profession, only 10 to 15% of all advisors give advice on Social Security. Be one of them. And you can learn from one of 3 ways. Through seminar marketing with Social Security, things are opening up now face to face. Did some virtual, didn't do terrible, but it was hard. It's hard business. I've done 538 or 39 public workshops. 6 of those were virtual, and the other 532 or so were all face to face. I've given nearly 100 seminars now on Social Security, not counting webinars and all the places that I go to talk, to speak in front of groups. When we could do that, and hopefully it'll come back. Retirement Boss Radio, yeah, your own radio host could be something interesting. It is for me. It's been very profitable, and or 4 coaching sessions for $800. I mean, there's ways to go in and to get it that are pretty darn reasonable, so you can really maximize that. There's no saying it says procrastination is my sin. It brings me constant sorrow. I really shouldn't practice it. Perhaps I'll stop. It never comes. Procrastination is a killer. It's a killer of production. It's a killer of success. Wait, 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 never gets done. If you heard something today, and Dave is going to put up the slide right now. Dave, put it up, okay? This is the slide. You can mark yes or you can mark no, and he's going to keep this slide up for until we're done. So whatever questions that we answer, we'll do. But if you mark yes on this, then Dave Corwin, who's with us today, he did the intro. He's going to call you, and he just lines up with us right there on the phone, and what works for your calendar and mine. And we talked for 15 or 20 minutes. So if you mark yes, Dave's going to give you a call today. Okay, I mean, we get the report out to us in the first hour, but it takes a call. If Dave calls you and you marked yes, don't have him go back and forth and back and forth. I know you're busy because you're in production, and we are certainly busy trying to educate people up on different things. So what happens when Dave Corwin calls you? Please take that call and get a good time, and then he'll align that with Natalie, Lynn, or Amy, one of my 3 administrators, with you right on the phone, and to get you lined up on the calendar. And if it's no, that's fine. Just mark no on there, then, and we won't line up that appointment. But I'll tell you, if you know Social Security, hey, more power to you. Let's market it now for you. If you don't know Social Security, let's market it for you. That's how you get it coaching free. IAMS pays me by seminars or by radio show of Retirement Boss Radio, or just learn it a la carte, with no marketing, and pay $200 a session or $800. So there's 3 different ways you can do it. Dave, is there any questions that have come up that I need to answer before we leave today?
Yeah, there's quite a few of them here. Looks like we going to go over up-to-date SSI claiming strategies.
Yeah, SSI. I'll tell you right now, no, we're not. And
Okay.
the reason on that is if you're I don't do that in my seminar either, because when you start talking about SSI, you're talking about people on Medicaid, and what kind of monies does that person from Medicaid have to invest? None. That's why they're on Medicaid. That's why they're on SSI. So no, I do not. And so I kind of pick my battles of what's important. I go over pretty much of what we went through today, but more slides. This is 27 slides, and those are 27 of the actual presentation, but there's 43 slides total. So I go over the main points, and I'm looking for people, of course, because I'm in the business to make money. I'm in the business to go in and offer professional advice, professional investments, or fixed index or fixed life, whatever it happens to be, and then to revenue from that. Yep.
Okay.
That's why we do.
Then there was another question here, too. Sorry to interrupt you there. Can you repeat the required born date in order to take advantage of file and restrict strategy?
Yeah, it's actually not file and suspend. It's called restricted application. You kind of put them together, file and restrict, but it's a restricted. You're restricting your application to your spouse's benefit. That's how you get half. And the spousal benefit's always half of theirs. Yeah, it's January the 2nd of 1954 before that date. So you have to be born on January the 1st of 54 or earlier to be able to restrict your application. It's running out. You can't get 4 years of benefit now. You can get a little over 2 years of that free money.
Okay.
Anything else?
Not that I see here, actually.
And I got there's one on the bottom there, and I'll just touch base, and then we'll go. So
yeah, I see
again,
that one.
yeah. Again, if you want to talk to me, and you're talking to one of my associates, talk to Dave Pemper. I'm going to give you some insight, and the insight is, could it help your business? Some businesses it doesn't help. Some people, I mean, it isn't going to help. Maybe it's who they're working with, or they're working with very young people. If you're working with folks in your 20s and 30s, and you want, or it isn't, I wouldn't learn Social Security because they don't think they're going to get it anyway. But I'll tell you the reason I work with that pre-retired or just retired. I mean, how many people here knew who Willie Sutton is? Dave, do you know who that is? Willie
I
Sutton.
do not.
Willie Sutton was a train robber, and he was. I mean, this is well, way before all of our times. It was back in the like 1920s. Okay, but he was just notorious, and he finally got caught after robbing many, 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 many trains. And they said to him, all cuffed up, they said, why would you rob trains? And he says, well, that's where the money is. And why do I work with people in pre-retired or just retired? They're at their height of earnings. They're at their height of their 401k. Most people's 401k, the average in all of the U.S. on 401k is just touched over $100,000. The average 401k that I work with is probably 300,000. And do I work with $1 million 401ks? Yes, I certainly have. But I would say it's 350, 400,000. And a lot of those folks, that's all the assets they have. They've never worked with a financial advisor. They put it in a target date fund, and off they go. Off they go. Just worked with 205,000. He has everything in the 2025 target date fund, and that doesn't make it bad. But he says, I certainly don't want to lose this money. Now that's bad because they can lose money. That's where the whole fixed index and fixed in some type of a guarantee of principal comes into play. So we're going to be taking this down just in a second, but I will say this as we're leaving. Thank you very, very much for being with us today. Sorry it ran a little long. Sorry we had a little bit of technicality problems in the very beginning. But my name is Dave Kemper. David Corwin is with us also from IAMS. But we're here to help you and help you get geared up, coached up, so you can go in and really understand Social Security claiming to be able to help your clients and be able to write more business, produce more than you ever have. So thank you very much for attending today.
Thank you very much, everybody.